Are you over 60 and doing all the right things? Plenty of protein, resistance training, moderate carbs, yet still waking up with less muscle tone, lower strength, and that sinking feeling that your body isn't rebounding like it used to. If that sounds familiar, you're far from alone, and there's a reason this happens. Today I want to share something surprising. Two specific vitamins may work better than magnesium to help rebuild muscle overnight in older adults. Here's what's really going on inside your body as we move into our 60s, 70s, or beyond. We face a perfect storm of physiological changes. First, our muscle protein synthesis becomes less responsive. What used to produce visible gains now produces very little. Second, our insulin signaling hormone levels like testosterone, growth hormone, IGF-1, and even mitochondrial capacity start to drift. Third, we tend to carry more inflammation and oxidative stress, impairing recovery, promoting muscle breakdown, and reducing our capacity to rebuild lean tissue. To fix the symptoms, say weakness, without addressing the root cause, impaired anabolic signaling, insulin resistance, hormonal decline, mitochondrial fatigue, is like painting over rust on a car. The damage is still inside. In this talk, I'll walk you through exactly why magnesium, while helpful for many things, is not the fastest or most potent lever for overnight muscle rebuilding in older adults. Then I'll reveal the two vitamins that the research suggests you focus on, explain the physiological mechanisms, show you how to leverage them in your life, timing, foods, dosing, pairing with exercise and recovery, and provide a clear protocol. By the end, you'll know not only what to do, but why it works and how to make it practical in your day-to-day life. So if you're ready to stop fighting age and start utilizing your body's hidden anabolic potential, keep watching. Here's what's really going on inside your body as you cross 60. Your muscles are not simply getting old. They're responding to a shift in the internal environment that determines how efficiently you build and repair tissue. Think of your muscle fibers as a construction site. In your 20s or 30s, the site has plenty of workers, abundant raw materials, and a constant signal to keep building. After 60, that construction signal weakens, fewer workers show up, and the delivery trucks slow down. The result is what scientists call anabolic resistance, a reduced ability of your muscle cells to respond to protein or exercise by building new tissue. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine trying to light a campfire with damp wood. No matter how much fuel you add, it never quite catches. In the same way, your body may have plenty of amino acids available, but the spark that tells your muscles to use them is weak. This spark depends on insulin sensitivity, mitochondrial energy, and specific nutrient cofactors that activate the mTOR pathway, the master switch for muscle growth. What the research shows is that beginning around age 60, the body becomes less responsive to both dietary protein and resistance training. This is not just about aging, it's about metabolic signaling. Chronic low-grade inflammation, cortisol elevation, and impaired insulin function all interfere with the muscle's ability to sense nutrients. A 2024 review in Nutrients noted that even physically active older adults require up to 40% more dietary protein to trigger the same anabolic response as younger individuals. Another piece of the puzzle is mitochondria, the energy factories in your muscle cells. As mitochondrial efficiency declines, less ATP is produced, which means slower recovery and weaker muscle contraction. The body also produces more oxidative stress, which damages muscle proteins faster than they can be replaced. When this imbalance continues, muscle strength, coordination, and even metabolism begin to deteriorate. So here's the root cause. The decline in muscle health is not simply due to getting older, but to a loss of nutrient signaling and mitochondrial performance. That's why magnesium alone often fails to reverse muscle loss. It's supportive for relaxation and nerve function, but it doesn't reignite the anabolic signal. To restore that signal, we must first understand why certain vitamins outperform magnesium in older adults. These vitamins not only improve cellular energy, but also resensitize the muscle to insulin and amino acids, directly activating muscle-building pathways. If this is helpful so far, tap the hype button below and consider subscribing. I post content like this every day. The supplements we are discussing in this video are tagged with the video, and you can get them from online stores. Magnesium is often celebrated as a miracle mineral, and it truly does play critical roles in the body. It supports nerve conduction, regulates blood sugar, calms the nervous system, and aids muscle relaxation. However, when it comes to rebuilding muscle, especially after 60, magnesium alone does not move the needle the way many people expect. Here is why. Magnesium acts like the body's stabilizer, not the accelerator. It helps maintain balance, but does not directly signal your body to grow new tissue. The process of rebuilding muscle depends on activating certain anabolic pathways, especially the mTOR pathway, which tells your cells now it is time to build. Magnesium supports more than 300 enzymatic reactions, but it does not meaningfully enhance this anabolic signal. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of magnesium as the oil that keeps an engine running smoothly. You absolutely need it. But if there is no fuel in the tank or no spark in the ignition, the car still will not move. In your body, the fuel is protein and amino acids, and the spark comes from vitamins and hormones that activate growth signals. Without that spark, magnesium cannot rebuild muscle on its own. What the latest studies show is that older adults with sufficient magnesium do not necessarily experience greater muscle mass or faster recovery. A 2024 analysis published in Frontiers in Aging found that while magnesium deficiency can impair muscle relaxation and contribute to cramps, supplementation alone did not significantly increase lean muscle mass in adults over 60. The researchers concluded that magnesium's role is supportive, not primary, in muscle regeneration. The deeper issue is that aging muscles require nutrients that restore cellular energy and improve insulin sensitivity, because insulin is one of the strongest anabolic hormones. When your cells stop responding efficiently to insulin, protein cannot be effectively converted into new tissue. Magnesium does not fix this signaling defect. It calms the system but does not reignite it. There is also a hormonal aspect. As we age, cortisol tends to rise, particularly in people with poor sleep or chronic stress. Elevated cortisol breaks down muscle tissue and increases magnesium loss through the urine. So even if you supplement magnesium, high cortisol may quickly deplete it without ever repairing the root cause. This is why two particular vitamins stand out. Unlike magnesium, they act more like the ignition key, turning on the processes that magnesium alone cannot. They enhance insulin signaling, support mitochondrial function, and directly participate in the synthesis of new muscle proteins. The first vitamin that outperforms magnesium for overnight muscle rebuilding is vitamin D, often underestimated, yet absolutely essential for restoring muscle responsiveness after 60. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Vitamin D is not just a vitamin, it acts more like a hormone. Almost every muscle cell in your body has vitamin D receptors, and when those receptors are activated, they turn on genes that enhance muscle contraction, strength, and recovery. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of vitamin D as the sunlight switch for your muscle machinery. Without it, the lights stay dim. Your neuromuscular system struggles to communicate efficiently, your mitochondria underperform, and your muscle fibers fail to respond even when you eat enough protein or exercise regularly. Once that switch flips on, everything brightens, cells communicate better, energy flows more efficiently, and repair processes accelerate. What the research shows is that vitamin D deficiency is one of the most common yet overlooked causes of muscle weakness and slow recovery in older adults. A 2024 meta-analysis in Nutrients found that supplementing vitamin D in adults over 60 significantly improved muscle function, grip strength, and balance independent of magnesium or protein intake. The reason: vitamin D enhances calcium uptake into muscle cells, supports ATP production, and improves the efficiency of mitochondria. Here's where it becomes critical for overnight recovery. During sleep, the body repairs and builds muscle tissue using amino acids delivered from your evening meal. But that process depends on adequate calcium signaling, the electrical communication inside each muscle fiber that triggers growth and repair. Without vitamin D, calcium remains locked out of the cells, slowing this entire anabolic sequence. Another key mechanism involves insulin sensitivity. Vitamin D helps your muscles absorb glucose and amino acids more effectively, providing the energy and raw materials they need to rebuild. Studies show that low vitamin D levels correlate strongly with insulin resistance and sarcopenia, the gradual loss of muscle tissue with age. Now, let's talk about timing and practicality. Vitamin D is fat soluble, which means it should always be taken with a meal that contains healthy fats, such as eggs, olive oil, or avocado. The optimal range for most adults over 60 is between 2,000 to 4,000 international units daily, though blood testing is the best way to individualize dosing. Combining vitamin D with vitamin K2 enhances its effectiveness by directing calcium into bones and muscles rather than arteries. Here is the key takeaway. Vitamin D restores the communication between your brain, your nerves, and your muscles, the very system that weakens with age. It reawakens the body's natural muscle-building signal, allowing protein and exercise to work again the way they used to. If this is helpful so far, tap the hype button below and consider subscribing. I post content like this every day. The supplements we are discussing in this video are tagged with the video, and you can get them from online stores. The second vitamin that works better than magnesium for rebuilding muscle overnight is vitamin B12, a nutrient often underestimated for its deep role in muscle metabolism, energy production, and cellular repair. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Vitamin B12 acts as a cofactor for the creation of red blood cells and the production of ATP, the energy currency of your cells. When you are low in B12, your muscles are like a factory running on half power. There might be plenty of raw materials, but the energy needed to assemble them is missing. That shortage leads to slower recovery, weaker muscle contractions, and fatigue that does not respond to sleep or food. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of B12 as the electricity that powers your body's protein-building machinery. You can have the best blueprint and the right materials, but without current running through the wires, construction stops. Once B12 levels are restored, those cellular machines turn back on, energy rises, protein synthesis resumes, and muscle tissue repairs itself faster. What the research shows is compelling. A 2024 review in Frontiers in Nutrition found that older adults with low serum B12 levels had significantly reduced muscle mass, poorer strength, and higher risk of sarcopenia. Supplementation reversed many of these declines, especially when paired with resistance training. The reason is that B12 supports methylation, a biochemical process essential for DNA repair and muscle cell regeneration. But the benefits go deeper. Vitamin B12 also helps regulate homocysteine, an amino acid that, when elevated, can damage blood vessels and reduce nutrient delivery to muscle tissue. By keeping homocysteine levels low, B12 ensures that oxygen and amino acids reach your muscles efficiently during sleep when repair and growth are at their peak. Now, let's talk about sources and timing. Vitamin B12 is naturally found in animal-based foods like eggs, fish, and grass-fed meat. However, absorption becomes less efficient with age due to lower stomach acid and intrinsic factor. That is why even people who eat a balanced diet may still be deficient after 60. For many older adults, methylcobalamin or adenosylcobalamin supplements, the active forms of B12, are best absorbed. A practical protocol: take B12 in the morning with breakfast to support daytime energy and cellular repair. Pairing it with folate and vitamin B6 further enhances methylation and supports healthy muscle metabolism. If you are vegetarian or have digestive issues, a sublingual form or weekly B12 injection can ensure consistent levels. Vitamin B12 does not just build muscle, it energizes every step of the process, from oxygen delivery to mitochondrial function. When combined with vitamin D, it creates a powerful synergy. One enhances cellular signaling, while the other fuels the repair work itself. This combination restores overnight recovery, reduces fatigue, and makes muscles feel alive again. Now that you understand how vitamins D and B12 work together to reawaken muscle building pathways. Let us translate that science into a clear daily routine you can start using tonight. Here is what is really happening in your body. Muscle recovery peaks during deep sleep. That is when growth hormone surges, mitochondria repair themselves, and protein synthesis accelerates. To take advantage of this natural repair window, you need to have the right nutrients circulating in your bloodstream before you go to bed, specifically the two vitamins that reignite those anabolic signals. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your body like a workshop that operates at night. If the right tools and materials are not on the workbench before the lights go out, no progress will be made. Supplying your body with the correct combination of nutrients before rest ensures that the overnight shift gets the job done efficiently. Here is the step-by-step protocol. Step 1. Morning activation. Begin your day with vitamin B12. A methylcobalamin or adenosylcobalamin form taken in the morning with breakfast supports red blood cell production and mitochondrial energy. This sets the stage for better performance during your workout or daily activity. For most adults over 60, 1,000 micrograms daily is effective, but always confirm with your healthcare provider for individual dosing. Pair it with a folate-rich food like spinach or avocado to enhance absorption. Step 2. Midday support. Include protein-rich meals, spaced evenly throughout the day, around 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein at each meal. This consistent amino acid supply keeps the mTOR pathway active and gives your body the building blocks it needs to respond to vitamin D and B12 signaling. Step 3. Evening restoration. Take your vitamin D with your evening meal, ideally one containing healthy fats such as salmon, olive oil, or nuts. Vitamin D between 2,000 and 4,000 international units supports calcium transport, muscle cell activation, and the overnight anabolic response. If you combine it with vitamin K2, you further direct calcium into muscle and bone where it belongs. Step 4. Sleep and recovery. Aim for 7 to 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep. The body does its heaviest rebuilding during the deepest stages of sleep. When cortisol levels drop, insulin sensitivity rises, and growth hormone peaks. A calm evening routine, no late-night caffeine or heavy meals, will make these vitamins work even more efficiently. Step 5. Weekly movement strategy. 3 to 4 sessions per week of resistance training such as light weightlifting, bodyweight exercises, or resistance bands magnify the benefits of these vitamins. Movement sends the build signal to your muscles, while vitamin D and B12 ensure that your body has the raw materials and energy to respond. If this is helpful so far, tap the hype button below and consider subscribing. I post content like this every day. The supplements we are discussing in this video are tagged with the video, and you can get them from online stores. To truly rebuild muscle, after 60, you must think beyond muscle itself. Muscle is not just a physical tissue, it is a metabolic organ. It regulates blood sugar, supports hormonal balance, burns fat, and even protects the brain from decline. That is why restoring muscle health through vitamins D and B12 goes far beyond strength. It impacts your entire metabolism and longevity. Here is what is really going on inside your body. Healthy muscle acts like a sponge for glucose and fatty acids. The more muscle you have, the better your insulin sensitivity and the lower your risk for diabetes, obesity, and cardiovascular disease. Vitamin D enhances this process by improving insulin receptor activity on muscle cells, while vitamin B12 supports the energy conversion process inside the mitochondria. Together, they create a balanced environment where your metabolism runs smoothly, energy is steady, and inflammation remains low. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your muscles as the engine of your metabolism. Over time, if you neglect maintenance, the engine collects sludge, inflammation, insulin resistance, and oxidative damage. Magnesium can clean the system a bit, but vitamin D and B12 rebuild the engine's components from the inside. They restore spark, fuel efficiency, and output, helping you run cleaner and stronger well into your 70s and 80s. What the research shows is that older adults who maintain optimal vitamin D and B12 levels experience better cognitive function, stronger immunity, lower inflammation, and more stable hormone profiles. Vitamin D reduces inflammatory cytokines that interfere with muscle growth, while B12 protects nerves and enhances mitochondrial DNA repair, two mechanisms essential for long-term vitality. This is why these vitamins are not just muscle nutrients, they are longevity nutrients. They influence key systems like the liver, adrenal glands, and nervous system, all of which work together to determine how efficiently your body builds or loses muscle. When your insulin, cortisol, and mitochondria are in balance, your body starts to behave more like it did decades earlier. Here's the practical takeaway: consistency is what drives change. You cannot simply take vitamin D or B12 for a week and expect transformation. These nutrients rebuild your metabolic foundation slowly but powerfully. Keep your levels steady, pair them with protein, movement, and quality sleep, and your body will begin to respond within weeks, often with better energy, strength, and even mood. So the next time someone tells you that muscle loss is just part of aging, remember this: your body has built-in regenerative intelligence. You simply need to supply it with the right tools. Let us bring everything together. The reason so many people over 60 struggle to rebuild muscle, even with exercise and protein, is not because the body has lost its ability to grow. It is because the communication lines inside the body have weakened. The anabolic signals that once said build and repair have gone quiet. What you have learned today is that two vitamins, vitamin D and vitamin B12, can help turn those signals back on, often more effectively than magnesium alone. Here is what is really going on inside your body when these nutrients are optimized. Vitamin D reactivates the neuromuscular system. It helps calcium enter your muscle cells, strengthens the connection between your nerves and fibers, and enhances the mitochondrial output that fuels recovery. Vitamin B12, on the other hand, drives the production of red blood cells, supports methylation, and provides the cellular energy your body needs to rebuild tissue while you rest. Together, they address the true root causes of age-related muscle loss: energy decline, poor insulin sensitivity, and weakened nutrient signaling. Let me explain this with one last analogy. Imagine your body as an orchestra that has lost its conductor. The musicians, your nutrients, your hormones, your mitochondria are still there, but they are out of sync. Vitamin D and B12 bring the conductor back to the stage. They synchronize every system, restoring harmony to your metabolism, recovery, and strength. The takeaway is simple: magnesium is helpful, but it is not the key. Muscle rebuilding after 60 requires turning the lights back on inside your cells, restoring the energy and communication that time has dimmed. These two vitamins do exactly that. So, here is your next step. Try incorporating the daily protocol we discussed for just 30 days. Track your energy, recovery, and muscle tone. Notice how your workouts feel easier, your sleep improves, and your body feels stronger in the morning. Your muscles are not aging. They are waiting for the right signals. And now you know how to turn them back on. If this added value, like the video and subscribe to join others optimizing their health naturally. Together, we can make the 60s, 70s, and even 80s the strongest decades of your life.